Ekdoms Hall of Fame.
We staan in een straat waar een gebouw staat waar je gewoon voorbij zal lopen als je niet wist wat hier achter deze deuren zou hebben plaatsgevonden. Dit is namelijk het gebouw waar de Beatles ooit hun audities deden en werden afgewezen. Maar het is ook de plek waar de Rolling Stones hun platen opnamen, waar de Moody Blues al hun liedjes hebben opgenomen, waar Tom Jones zat. En we gaan afspreken met de schrijver van dit boekje, Dick Weinling. Hij gaat ons er alles over vertellen. Want hier is het gebouw van Decca Records. Dick, it's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here. What happened in this room?
Well, we're in Decca Studios, which is where thousands of records were recorded. But probably you want to know about the Beatles.
Well, yeah, I know. It's famous because of the audition, and they failed the audition.
They did. What happened was Brian Epstein was running record shops in Liverpool, and he got in touch with Decca and said he'd like them to audition. The Decca A&R man, artist and repertoire man, who booked all the acts, was called Dick Rowe.
Another Dick.
And he sent his assistant, who's called Mike Smith, to go to Liverpool to see the Beatles perform at the Cavern. He liked what they were doing. He thought they were a good live band. And so he said, yes, you can have an audition here at Decca Studios. So they came down. The date was the 1st of January. The problem was they had travelled down on the day before. And in England, on New Year's Eve, everyone goes to Trafalgar Square to celebrate the end of the year and the beginning of the new year. So like many young men, they went and they got very drunk and stayed up most of the night.
Like us all at New Year's Eve.
Well, I was going to say, you probably do the same. So they arrived here the next day at 11 o'clock and they set up their equipment ready to perform. The Decca technicians and Mike Smith looked at their amplifiers and said, you're not using those. You better use the Decca ones. So they had to unplug their stuff and plug into the Decca ones. So we're using strange amplifiers and so on. Over the next couple of hours, they recorded 15 tracks. Very strange songs like Besame Mucho and My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean. And
oh my God.
Yeah, very strange songs.
But they did 3 Lennon-McCartney songs.
3 Lennon-McCartney songs, that's all. So out of 15, only 3 are originals. The recording is terrible. And I think if you listen, you'll hear really quite poor performance.
There was love all around. Oh, darling, don't ever let me go.
Brian Epstein thought they'd done quite well, and he took them out for dinner at a local restaurant, and then they went back to Liverpool. He stayed in London, and here in the studio, the one we're in now, Brian Poole and the Tremolos came in to do their audition.
Silence is golden, golden, that song, right?
That's it, yeah. They were actually quite a popular band, but Mike Smith came after listening to them. He said to Dick Rowe, I'd like to have both of them. Can we sign both of them? And Dick Rowe said, nope, you've got to have one. You choose. So Mike Smith chose the Tremolos, not Dick Rowe. Mike Smith is the man responsible.
But he's the man who turned down the Beatles.
He is the man. But poor Dick Rowe now is labelled as the man who turned them down.
We're talking about the Beatles and the Stones, which was war in music a few years later. But in this room, is this the room where the Rolling Stones later on got their first recording?
Well, yes and no. What happened was Dick Rowe is at a talent competition in Liverpool, and another judge is George Harrison. And there's no hard feelings, and George says to him, I've heard this really good band, Dick. You should go and check them out. They're called the Rolling Stones. So Dick Rowe leaves the audition in Liverpool, comes to London, goes to the Crawdaddy Club in Richmond, hears the Stones who are playing, they have a residency there, likes them, signs them in about 4 days after he heard them. And at that point, you've got Andrew Oldham as their manager, but he also likes to be their producer, and he doesn't really like the people here at Decca. So he wants to do most of the production himself. So he takes them to independent studios initially to record the first tracks, and then Dick Rowe persuades them to come in here and to re-record the original song they do. So they do record here, their first one, but not many afterwards. After that, they're almost all recorded somewhere else. But they signed to Decca, and they become obviously Decca's biggest band and so on. So that's good. But poor Dick Rowe is, as I say, labelled, but he signed the Animals. He signed 10 years after. It goes on, Tom Jones.
He signed the Rolling Stones. I mean, that's got to be good enough, right?
Enough, yeah.
But he died in 1986, so we have to remember, people, Dick Rowe wasn't the one who turned down the Beatles, after all. Remember that. And the ironic thing is, the first Rolling Stones hit was written by Lennon McCartney.
Yeah. Yes, some good stuff there.
Holy shit. Mensen. Kijk, het lijkt gewoon een pand, hè, als je zo kijkt. Ja, liggen al die verhalen. Het grappige is dat de mensen die hier dus gewoon elke dag naar binnen lopen, die hebben geen idee wat hier gebeurd is. Rolling Stones waren hier. De Beatles waren hier. Eric Clapton was hier. Noem ze maar op. Iedereen heeft hier een keer iets opgenomen. Decca Records, groot label. Maar ja, Decca Records zit er al een tijdje niet meer. Maar het pand is er nog steeds. Nog steeds niet gesloopt. Te gek om de man te spreken die dit dus heeft geschreven. Het enige boekje over Decca Records, wat raar is. Want ik zou er hele boeken over, hele telefoonboeken over willen schrijven, kunnen schrijven, lezen, wat dan ook. Maar ja, hier was het dus. Echt te gek om hier even te zijn. Die ruimte. Gewoon klein hockey, geschiedenis. Londen. We gaan nog veel meer zien.
NPO Radio 2.